I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What do you mean, calm it down? It's a fight. Referees telling two fighters who want to fight to calm it down? He should calm down.
I saw he's like a clown in his show, man. He's not your guy.
Because Tyson Fury's back, and all you motherfuckers are under attack.
Look, Eddie Hearn can say all what he likes. Who gives a shit what Eddie Hearn says? It's garbage.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Can you let me retire and be happy? Please? Just please.
Bombs away from the Bronx Bomber!
Wanda! Let's go, baby! Let's go! I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You're not shit.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
I got dropped, man.
No, you won the fight.
OMG. I am so excited.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up, MCR family? Another daily edition of the show, though. That was kind of lacking this week. Apologies. I know for all of our hardcore boxing audience, which is predominantly most of our listeners and watchers on Mixed Combat Radio, are boxing fans. They don't like MMA, so I do apologize that I went to the enemy, the dark side of MMA with Sheridan.com with Anthony Walker and covered UFC 241, which was fantastic. Go catch all of our content over there. It's also on our YouTube page. Go check that out. But digressing, I am Matt the Hipster Hunter, joined as usual on these boxing shows and just like the midday shows, nighttime over there, by Mr. Robbie Hearn himself, second cousin twice removed of Sir Eddie. Rob, it's been a minute. How are you, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Been waiting for you to stop, reporting on the dark side and get back to the not so dark side of combat radio, combat news and sports, because there's sort of been some topics and people have been hitting me up. Are you doing a show? I'm like, nah, Matt's doing that other stuff. So yeah, no, we got a bit to talk about. So everybody in the chat, hit that thumbs up, share the show, usual stuff. Thanks for being here, and yeah, let's get into it.
And again, call in 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. International caller, Skype, Mixed Combat Radio. Especially since I think most of the topics today are of an international variety. Skype, Mixed Combat Radio. I want to hear some opinions, especially about obviously the main topic. Anthony Joshua, let's be honest, Rob, becoming the bad guy in a sense. And, there was this huge long Twitter thread of some fan really went deep with the this has been a marketing ploy by AJ, etc., to be the bad guy, and that Ruiz Joshua, just like any sort of major fight, needs to play off a bad guy, good guy sort of dynamic, right? Ruiz can't be the bad guy in this case, unless for really deep hardcore matchroom fanboys. Ruiz is
he's trying,
but I think largely speaking, just the optics of it, Ruiz is the smiling, go happy, tubby kid. He's the kid from Up. That meme made him likable. Let's be honest about it. And I think there's a reason why people are thinking that this whole change, so to speak, in the branding, the persona of Anthony Joshua is a marketed ploy. I can understand why they think that. But before we get to all of that, let's sort of set this table or set the stage for really this heel turn by Anthony Joshua. First for going after sort of Andy Ruiz with some slide comments, and then obviously going after Lennox Lewis, and Lennox Lewis having a long, multi-day Twitter rant about it. Don't worry, guys, dramatic reading time. We're playing the music and everything. It is happening. But let's sort of get to all of that fun stuff. First up is Anthony Joshua on Sky Sports talking specifically about Andy Ruiz and whether or not he has power or not. And I thought this was fun. This was a little spicy, Anthony Joshua, which I got admit, me, Rob. I love the pettiness. I love the spiciness in combat sports. So Anthony Joshua adding some of that to his game and to his brand, I love it.
Were you surprised at how good Ruiz's skill set was?
He ain't that skillful. He's a good fighter.
He beat you?
Yeah, by a
He
lucky
beat
punch.
you.
By a punch that was sent by the gods.
Were you surprised at
Play it
how
again.
good Ruiz's skill set was?
He ain't that skillful. He's a good fighter.
He beat you?
Yeah, by a lucky punch. By a punch that was sent by the gods.
Were you surprised at how good Ruiz's skill set was?
Oh, that was so good. And I don't know if you want to like separate like this aspect of the story from the Lennox one, Rob, or if you want to combine them. It's up to you. Separate.
Yeah, I guess they kind of combine eventually because there's like a whole sort of common thread. But this one was just sort of, separate, I guess, from the
I'll put it this way.
the Lennox bit opened a whole fucking can of worms. So, yeah.
Well, like the Lennox thing, like I'll be honest, like this might be a shocker to some of our listeners because I think some people peg me as more of a hater for Anthony Joshua, which is surprising. But I think Anthony Joshua was completely in his right when it came to the Lennox Lewis situation. To be quite honest, I don't think he said anything really out of line. And to be honest, that is sort of the norm in just the entertainment industry as a whole. The old guard and the young guard sort of fighting, that infighting within the industry that's common in entertainment, period. Music, sports, movies, TV, you're going to see that dynamic. But this comment about Andy Ruiz was so good. And I apologize. The name of the interviewer again, Rob.
Anna Woolhouse.
Anna Woolhouse. Her comeback with, well, he beat you. Oh, my God.
Yeah, that was
I loved it. That was so good. And I got it for a Sky Sports interviewer to have that, in a sense, mid follow-up question. Kudos to her. Like, props to her for that. A lot of other interviewers wouldn't have just said that really obvious fact. Well, he beat you. I would have liked for her maybe to follow up. Well, he knocked you down 4 times. Was he lucky 4 times? Was each time lucky? But then again, we talked about this before. I don't mean to cut you off, and I'll stop after this point, Rob. We talked about this before, like fighter talk, promoter talk, right? A lot of it's for show. This is for show. And on top of that, I think some fighters like need to sort of say this in their mind, need to say it out loud, like it's a trick they need to play. Because if they start letting in doubt, then like their game falls apart. Like I know some fighters act that way. I don't know if Joshua's in that case, but at the very least, like I just think it's fighter talk. It's hyping himself up.
Yeah, I think. The whole Twitter went crazy. Like, oh, lucky punch, huh? And just done that whole thing, and But whether in, like you say, Joshua's head, he felt he had to sort of make this out loud, say this out loud for his own sake, or whether he genuinely kind of feels it, because just before that he knocked Ruiz down and he came in for the kill. And was it Ruiz just in his head, fighting for his life, kind of, just winging some punches because, oh God, I'm under pressure, some evil sort of shell up and try and run or hold, and some, fight back a little bit. And so in his head, does he say, I had him hurt, I done this, I done that, and he landed a lucky punch, and from there on in, he was on crazy legs and it was all game over. So look, it's Joshua's opinion. Do I think it was a lucky punch? Not really. No. It's a boxing match. A punch is thrown. Can it be lucky? He's aiming to hit the guy that's in front of him. So, I don't know.
Now,
but it was just.
It was good.
He's a little antsy in this. In the interview a little bit.
He's antsy, period, right now, and which is fine. Like, it's his first professional loss. Like, that's going to happen. Let's get to the Lennox part and then sort of tie it together with his sort of heel turn, what it means, where is that coming from. But, oh my God, this is so good. All of this is so good. This whole interview, if you haven't seen the full interview, go check it out, because it honestly is actually a pretty good, like, home network based interview, where it's like, I don't expect Max Kellerman to give like Terrence Crawford the hardest hitting interview, to be quite honest, or Stephen A. Smith. Like, I just don't expect that. Same with like Fox and PBC fighters and vice versa. But let's get to AJ's comment on Lennox Lewis.
This is a clown. I don't respect Lennox.
I guess the likes of Lennox Lewis came back from massive losses.
Lennox
twice.
is a clown. I don't respect Lennox.
He created a legacy, though.
So am I.
That's what I was about to say. Is this all part of the legacy? Are you
It's
aware
nothing,
of how big the
nothing
legacy
compared
is?
to what Lennox is doing. Nothing. Me and Lennox aren't the same. My legacy is to sit back and enjoy the younger generation coming up and not to really be involved. Just appreciate what it takes to get there. Lennox isn't like that. Me and Lennox are cut from a different cloth.
I guess.
Now, to that point, Lennox obviously had a pretty public beef that's still ongoing in a sense, but it's simmered down in obvious ways with Tyson Fury. Like 2016, 15, something around that, maybe 2014 actually. It was a minute ago, right? So
which Joshua let people know about by posting it on his IG with a swipe up link to the video. But yeah, carry on.
And on top of that, like not just with Lennox, but like Mike Tyson and Deontay Wilder have had a very public feuding and beef for years now. This is just kind of normal in a way. I feel like most fighters at the very top, when they see the next guy come up and maybe push back on what their legacy was and beat it out in certain ways, they get competitive. I'll use that word because that's what I think that's what it is. Like that's the basic sort of human emotion going on here is it's competitiveness. Like it's the same reason why fighters could be friends one day, but the second they're now paired up to fight, it changes because competition now is involved. And I think Lennox being probably the greatest UK heavyweight of all time, right? I feel like that's a safe thing to say. Maybe I don't know. Patrick Conner might come out at me.
I mean, when he was winning, he was definitely
yes.
UK.
Well, he's not right. He's not the best right now, of course. But
no, I mean he's more Canadian recently.
Okay. While AJ obviously I don't think is near that in terms of legacy yet, he has obviously surpassed in terms of just the stardom. AJ is a much bigger star respective to Lennox in his prime.
And at this stage of his career as well. I don't
Yes.
think Lennox was done any of this by 22 fights or 23 fights, you know. It was a bit further down the line. So
And never did. Like Lennox never was except for maybe Mike Tyson. I don't know the UK numbers there, but obviously I know the US numbers were insane there. Like Lennox was never a star in any shape or form.
no, not quite like this. Not like this AJ Brandon type level, you know.
No, and especially when like he was in the era of Tyson, Holyfield. Like those guys were so much bigger than he was. That Lennox was just the quiet guy that was there. That was the better boxer of the group, and there was the younger guy of the group too, right? Right. That was kind of like he was the chipper guy, just happy, like not really talkative, and great boxer, great jab. But it took him a bit to become something. Even then, I don't think he was really the marquee. While AJ has always been the marquee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But let's get to Lennox's ranting.
Retort.
God, it's so much. There's like, 5 different tweets of just him talking? God.
Well, there's kind of a timeline of sort of back and forth, kind of. But yeah,
I'm not going to go through all of it that you sent me. Because look, there was a lot like the IG story pictures back and forth. I know like there's too much of that.
Come on, that was funny.
They were funny, but I think people in the know they've seen it. They've seen those pictures,
Maybe,
and plus
yeah.
it's kind of old. And it requires me to do more work on the show in terms of production to get those pictures up because they're not links. But digressing.
One of them is I could get you the other one, but anyway, heaven forbid you do a bit, you know.
That's true. I was tired, Rob. Lennox Lewis coming back and saying, "Wow, he is right. We are cut." Oh, I need dramatic music. What am I doing? I apologize.
And a slightly Canadian accent.
Canadian accent is a hard accent actually, because it doesn't sound enough different from the U.S. accent to where like you can do it for me.
Just say wow, eh?
I'm not doing it. Wow, he's right. We are cut from a different cloth. Undisputed wasn't something I, air quote, worried about. It was something that I went after until it was accomplished. But don't worry, guys. It keeps going and going. Lennox, again, disappointed in AJ's words. But I understand that this jealousy narrative was only fabricated after I criticized them for Wilder negotiations. All of a sudden, I'm a hater. Was it the shrug emoji? Ask who benefits from such a simple-minded narrative. Not AJ. Not me. Next one. I don't blame AJ as much as I blame the people around him that stoked the fires. I've remained at an arm's distance from AJ to respect that he wants to make his own way. I'm sure he also gets sick of the constant comparisons to me over his entire career. This is epic Carl Froch levels, by the way, guys. That's what I want to know. This might be passing Carl Froch levels of like, hey, I remember I did 80,000 people in Wembley. Lennox continuing, he is the first AJ, not the next Lennox Lewis. Like I said, I won't fall into that trap and be pitted against him. He has a watershed moment in his career coming up, and all of this only serves as a distraction by the media. Notice how they only led with his comments about me. Actually, no, it was the Andy Ruiz punch too. Lennox. Lennox continuing, AJ has my number. If he ever wants to clarify what is being said in the media or show me where I'm wrong about something, my doors remain open to him. But just know that disrespect is not the answer to his frustrations. Gotta go catch a flight now. Bless. Is there more? Hold on, let me check. I think that might be it. No, there's more. There's there's more. This so-called feud between me and Anthony Joshua is just what some people want to see. People want me to come back at this youth and put him in his place. But I just want to tell him to look around you and don't fall into those traps. Anyone in his ear about what I have to say are just distractions from the task at hand. Hashtag undisputed. They must know this creates more unnecessary stress. Don't be an obedient target to the things that take you off your individual path to greatness. Well, guys, that was a load of bullshit. And I just, anytime that somebody says, like, look, it's not about me, and then kind of like proceeds to talk about themselves a lot, it always cracks me up. Every time.
It's not about me, but listen to what I've got to say about me, kind of. Or this is about me, but.
And look, Lennox is now like playing, I don't know, like, oh, AJ's coming at me now, right? Like, not necessarily victim mentality, but like, just like, he's like, I am now the one being targeted here. No, you're not, Lennox. Like, you've been very vocal in the media, when it comes to anything this younger generation, besides Deontay Wilder. And then B, you're also a paid PBC commentator, which, connected to point A, makes sense why only one fighter out of the bunch you talk about in really high praise. Also maybe Andy Ruiz as well you talk about in high praise. Another Al Heyman heavyweight. So, like, the conflict of interest here for you, Lennox, is pretty apparent. And the fact throughout your entire tirade, at no point do you say, I know I work for PBC, but AJ, I respect you. I hope we can move past this. No, he really didn't say that. Like, the closest he got to that was call me and tell me where I'm wrong. And it's just, Lennox, God bless you. You're one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, honestly. Like, probably in the top 15 of all time. You can make that argument. But you're out of pocket here. And it's really hilarious to see you go on a multi-day Twitter rant about one interview. And then, I'll pull up. Rob, I'll let you talk. I do want to pull up one thing that AJ posted on his story that was really funny. So,
are you going to do that?
Yeah. You go. You can go for a second. Let me pull something up.
No, I mean for me, like, boxing Twitter. I'm always on there, just looking for news and whatever. But the reaction to this Joshua calling Lennox Lewis a clown has been unbelievable. And people, you can't disrespect someone who's done what he's done in the ring. This isn't about what someone has done in the ring. This is about a guy's comments from a, supposed fellow countryman. And even if people agree with what Lennox Lewis has kind of said, or about Joshua's possible flaws, and if he thinks that's fine, and people say, but Joshua cannot come out and say this about a legend. But if he feels disrespected, of course he can. I've got no issue with it. This has just been blown up so crazy.
Look, in any walk of life, whether it's your work life, your home life, whatever, personal life, friend life, whatever it is, right? If you are feeling like you are being disrespected, you should address it.
Yeah.
Like, honestly. And maybe like the one criticism I would have of AJ in this, and it's a very small one, would be like it's now becoming an issue. When, let's say, 3 years ago, when Lennox started mouthing off a little bit about the whole negotiation with Wilder, and before Lennox was a PBC employee, AJ could have handled it differently back then, and it never would have got to this equation or this situation because AJ wouldn't have 3 years of being pent up and pissed off at Lennox for just continuing to mention him.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is another thing. People are ripping AJ now for before it was, he's just the media darling, the media puppet, media trained robot. He just says the company line all the time. We want to hear the real AJ. Now AJ comes out and calls Lennox Lewis a clown. You can't do that. It's like, what can the guy do? You know what I mean? But it's been. I mean, he's been like roasted for this more than boxing Twitter has roasted fighters that we know has fucking beaten up women and shit. He's had more grief for calling Lennox Lewis a clown than like domestic violence offenders and shit like that. So
absolutely.
This whole thing is just crazy. And to a point, what Lennox Lewis said about media, although a lot of the comments that have started all this is him being media, but Sky have put this out. There seems to have been a little bit of a die down on the whole Saudi Arabia thing and the whole Dillian White thing. That's very much lessened in the sort of fan forum talking about it. The usual suspects are still going, it's been 31 days, where's the B sample? And Saudi Arabia, human rights, blah, 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 blah.
Quickly, Rob. Those things are died down because there's not more information about it. So that's why it's died down. But let me just mention some things. Those things are important, though. Like Saudi Arabia's human rights atrocities are important to address. And AJ trying to go there for Andy Ruiz fight is a point of contention that we should have in the media and just as a community overall that we allow that we are okay with that. Secondly, of course you're going to have, let's be honest, Rob, PBC Defense Squad on Twitter having a disparity in how they react to things. Of course, they're fanboys. Okay. They were tweeting about how amazing that John Pascal Marcus Brown fight was, right? At no point in time did any of them really tweet about it, Marcus Brown's domestic violence offenses. We know that. We know that, Rob. However, let's not minimize. There's no monopoly on suffering, on human suffering. I know you're not saying this, Rob. You know what I mean? But I think that there's a value to not really pushing back on the Saudi Arabia point, in my opinion. That's all. But sorry, continue.
No, all I'm saying is this is in some part deflected from that. This is now the big talking point. Yes. That's all I'm trying to say.
Because it's newer too.
Yeah, but AJ calls him a clown. That's trending on Twitter, going crazy for what 2 days now, 3 days now, and like I said, all I'm saying is there's less people still raising the Saudi thing. There's less people still raising
but then what's the I don't know the ultimate point of that is what's
I'm saying because Lennox Lewis raised the thing that the media have put this out, that clip of him calling me a clown. And has this been used in a way to deflect from that? Like, Sky Sports.
Okay. Now I'm understanding what you're saying. So I didn't understand what you're saying at first. So Lennox, others are sort of alluding that this has been put out there by Sky in a way to deflect from the Saudi backlash. Or at least there's some thought process attached to that.
Thought behind, because I was almost surprised that the Sky led with this and they done articles on it. Joshua said, and it was all there. Lennox calls Lennox Lewis a clown, blah, 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 and I was kind of surprised because Sky sometimes don't, in my opinion, address certain things that might shed a little bit of maybe bad light to someone that's important to Sky in a way. They'll report it, but maybe not quite. But this was like, hey, everybody, check out this.
They pushed it. They pushed all the buttons for this to go.
Yeah.
No, I see the point. I didn't understand what you're saying. I found the picture I wanted to bring up because I thought it was funny. Anthony Joshua on his IG story always say it how it is. Assuming that is a spelling error there. Or grammar error. A clown is a clown. He can wipe his makeup off. That heart remains the same. No squares in my circle, cuh. G shit only. I love how, ever since AJ went to LA that one time, he's trying to be a little bit more LA in everything he does. I can respect that. As an LA native, I can see the LA influence in AJ now. So I just want to say, I respect that. However, please do not do that again, AJ. I just don't do that.
And then just another thing, like you said, people may or may not have seen it, but after a few tweets, Lennox Lewis then tweeted a picture of a lion. To which, a few hours later, Joshua's on his IG story. That's why it's not a link, Matt, because it was just on his story. So I just screenshot it. But he done Simba sort of laying on top of is it Scar? I think it's Scar, right? Of the Lion King. So basically like the young lion keeping the old lion down, whatever. But it was kind of like, Joshua with it. Not so subliminal that time, but he's sort of been known for those kind of things. But I don't know. It's going to rumble on, I guess, for the time being. But yeah, how dare he? How dare he call an old boxer?
It so doesn't matter. It so doesn't matter.
Oh no, right?
The only reason this was the lead topic, because SEO purposes, it's Anthony Joshua and Lennox Lewis. However, it's pettiness. So you know me, guys. I'm gonna cover it. I'm gonna cover it like it's real, as substantive news.
We could have gone with Oscar De La Hoya actually attending a press conference as well. We could.
Wait, he did?
He did. He was there for the which one was it?
What press conference?
This weekend. Was it Munguia and Atley, or no? Maybe not. I don't know. But he was there. Little cap, little old man, sort of Yorkshire man cap, looking a little chubby. But yeah.
Oh God.
Just Patty reminded me, that was all.
No, I understand. But hey, man, Oscar, he's out in public. That's a positive. Speaking of AJ though, and his opponent Andy Ruiz, he goes on Twitter and saying, "To my fans and supporters, I'm looking forward to Ruiz Joshua 2. My team and Eddie Hearn continue talking and working on the details to make this happen." And just to sort of attach news aspect to this sort of fight, the IBF did rule that they were going to allow the rematch with Ruiz and Joshua, and then have Pulev fight the winner. Pulev doesn't like that, so he is now appealing that ruling as Ruiz is stalling the rematch, and that's sort of one of the reasons that he is using to sort of try to appeal this ruling by the IBF. This is coming from Jake Donovan over at Boxing Scene.
It appears doing a sexual harassment course, starts getting you focused on boxing again.
Rob, Is there a possibility that this fight doesn't happen? Like, do we get like a weird case, not to the same like 1-to-1 analog, but Klitschko Fury 2, where like that never actually happened, and we just kept dragging on and on and on, and then just died away, obviously due to the PD and cocaine usage of Tyson Fury. But could Ruiz, in some weird way with the IBF with Pulev, could all of this sort of fall apart in the 11th hour, and we don't get this rematch in the time that we thought it was going to happen, and it get pushed back to next year, or maybe just pushed back indefinitely? Is that a possibility, a distinct possibility?
I guess so. I think we're still going to get it. The IBF thing has thrown out what we believe to be the order of the mandatories. The WBA were next. It was Usyk was going to be facing the winner of this fight, but they've come in and called their mandatory, and you have to face Pulev by such and such a date. So there's a lot of talk that the WBA will then become vacant because they will call their mandatory. So I don't know. I still just think Ruiz is holding out for more money. I believe the questions that are kind of being asked are kind of who's going to be the commission, what kind of testing, and this, that, and the other. But I believe Manny Robles done a video with Behind the Gloves, and he's saying that there is no commission and VADA won't travel and this kind of thing. So I don't know. I think that's all the issues that need to be
issues. Those are big issues.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I believe an MTK card, which was in Dubai. I know not Saudi Arabia, but they had the Japanese commission come in and run that event. And the Austrian commission, I think, done the World Boxing Super Series final with Groves. And so commissions will be drafted in for this. That's obviously what will happen. But I don't know. But I still think it's just a question of Andy Ruiz holding out for more money, and this will get signed, and it will happen as sort of laid out by Matchroom and Saudi Arabia.
When we get to this eventual Mayweather topic, I hate talking about Saudi Arabia when it comes to regulation, combat sports as a whole, or just Saudi Arabia as a whole. UAE, add UAE in the mix too. You know, they're not any more innocent than Saudi Arabia. Moving on, because that just makes me depressed thinking about the clusterfuck that is. Because, Rob, in a sense, you are right that if they pay Ruiz a certain amount, probably that he will ignore a lot of those factors. But I don't know if that's the case anymore. Like the Dylan White story, the Dylan White case with UCAD, I do think in some ways changed the U.S. promoters, U.S. fighters' perception on going to the UK, going abroad for fights. Like it does seem like that we had a 180 shift. And yes, some promoters use it in a tongue-in-cheek or maybe a self-serving manner. Bob Arum, for example. But I think for fighters who, like most people, work off of low information, they see a headline, they see something, they run with that, right? Yeah. They are, in my opinion, now far more concerned about going to the UK, going to Saudi Arabia, going anywhere that's not their norm. And that disparity in, a Saudi Arabia, UK, Austria, wherever it is, right? Lithuania, Latvia, if you're Maris Bridas fighting every freaking time, right? Like, there should be a concern about who is in control here. Like, who is regulating us getting brain damage and CTE right now? Because that's kind of important information to know. So, if those issues aren't really resolved, I think money may sort of make those points void, but at the end of the day, those are really big points. More so than when we get to Wilder Fury, for example. Not Wilder Fury, sorry, Wilder Ortiz, and why that's not still made. The reason why that's not made, I think, is a far lesser issue than the amount of issues that AJ and Ruiz have to get their shit dealt with.
Well, yeah, that's in a usual
Of
place
course.
for boxing, and it's
No, of
all
course.
it's all in place anyway.
Absolutely. And that's in part why I'm saying that,
Yeah.
And again, this could have just been MSG and we could have all avoided this. Moving on. And plus,
I just can't see that they flew a guy out from Saudi Arabia. They done a whole announcement press conference, and it's yeah, we'll figure that out later. I'm sure.
Hey, I can see it. It is combat sports. We have seen some
yeah,
crazy
but-
shit in our time.
Yeah, maybe.
Golden
But-
Boy MMA.
Yeah, all right. Don't tar Matchroom and other companies with that brush, Matt. That was ridiculous. What a ridiculous thing to say. But
I'm sorry. I just had to.
But yeah, I can't see that there is no kind of plan for all these. Because I'm pretty sure Joshua will want testing in place. I'm pretty sure he'll want a commission as well. I don't know, but it will happen, I'm sure. Just keep the faith.
Yes. Sorry, look like our phone lines went down trying to get them back up. Let's get to the Wilder Ortiz.
Non-news.
Oh my God, it's just weird. This world we live in. Lance Pugmire reporting August 16th. Confirmed to Athletic that the scheduled date for Bronze Bomber Tyson Fury is February 22nd. The Deontay Wilder fight versus Luis Ortiz has to get made first. We know that. And this news story keeps developing. My Carpenter saying sources Deontay Wilder Luis Ortiz 2 is likely moving off November 9th to November 23rd. Now targeted for a heavyweight title bout. One reason date keeps shifting. And I think this is probably the reason the date keeps shifting. You don't think so, Rob? You think it's the other one? You think it's the other reason? You're so full of bands today. Both Fox, this is my commenter talking. Both Fox and Showtime expect to carry the pay-per-view fight, and it hasn't been sorted. Jake Donovan reported Las Vegas as the likely site first, and then keep moving on with this story, and it just gets weird really fast here. Lance reporting nothing done yet, but believed that Bronze Bomber Luis Ortiz rematch is being moved, obviously. And a slightly more important fight is going to the original Staples Center. KSI versus Logan Paul 2, which is being promoted by Matchroom Boxing.
Say what?
Oh my God. What are we doing here, Rob?
We're reporting on great business for DAZN.
Oh my God. This is just weird. First off, let's table the Logan KSI shit for maybe never.
Let's put some respect on the name.
Yeah, just because you spent money to actually go to that shit.
I had to take somebody, and who wouldn't want to be there?
Anyways. Now, Rob, you made the joke. I think people understand now probably that you think Logan versus KSI 2 being put into Staples is the main reason why this fight is still not being made. Do you really think that, or is that just like the joke?
I don't know. It was, look, first of all, Lance Pugmire, if his sources tell The Athletic or whatever it was Tyson Fury on SportsCenter saying, oh, breaking news, February the 22nd is the rematch, then take his sources with a pinch of salt if that's who your sources are, because it was only 2 days ago, and I forgot to clip it, but 2 days ago, I think BT Sport interview, Tyson Fury said, it looks like Wilder's fighting Ortiz in November, so I want another fight in December in the UK. He said, which I'm allowed one fight or something in the UK with my contract with ESPN or whatever it is. And he said, I'm like, Uncle Frank will get it made, but I want another fight in December in the UK because, so I believe my rematch with Wilder will get pushed back from the February date. 2 days later, it's February the 22nd. Like he said about 5 weeks ago, which we told you that he said
5
it at
weeks ago. Yep.
one of his meet and greets. He told the crowd at February 22nd, and we've done Bob Arum even spoke this and said that, but I think he said it like that's the date that's kind of penciled in, or that's the date we're looking for. And then he mentioned the dual pay-per-view, this, that, and the other. But I just can't see Deontay Wilder fighting Luis Ortiz, and then 13 weeks later he's in the ring with Tyson Fury. I think that's too small of a window for a training camp, a fight, promotion, training camp, fight. I think that's back-to-back, very quick turnaround. If it was a Brazil 1 round, maybe. Even then, I'd be doubtful. Even if Wilder got rid of Ortiz in a round, I still think it's unlikely. They'll move this, I think. But as for the date being moved, do I think it's because of the 2 YouTubers? No, not really. I'm sure it's not that. But it was just...
It's funny.
And Staples Center, November 9th was the one muted for Wilder and Ortiz. And now all of a sudden, it might be KSI and Logan Paul, the rematch.
And you know what? I don't know how I feel about the switch up, in terms of like what I could be credentialed for. Like KSI, Logan Paul too, which probably do great YouTube numbers. Or Wilder Ortiz too, which is like an actual like fight.
Go to the one that will be sold out.
Where they said MGM, right? Did they say MGM for?
I think it was, yeah, MGM Vegas, yeah.
They could sell that out. They could sell it to MGM. The MGM's like a 14,000 seater. Like that's not that bad. And Wilder kind of does that 14,000 number, right? Like that's hits that a lot. While Tyson Fury is finding the T-Mobile Arena, and the lower bowl is open. So
pointless.
A 25,000 arena that now only seats 10,000 because you scaled it down. Weird. But anyways, want to talk about the KSI Logan Paul thing? Like,
I mean,
are you intrigued by it at all? Like, I'm really not.
I'm intrigued I don't care who wins the fight. I'm not interested in the fight. But I'm intrigued because I've been told that they are 90% sure that DAZN are picking this up. Mm-hmm. And that this is actually a thing with Matchroom promoting it. Now, I believe the first fight through YouTube did something like 1.6, 1.7 million buys on the YouTube. For the first fight.
And it was $10 a pay-per-view buy?
Yeah, that's right. Sold out arena. Beatlemania basically kicked in. It was like kids walking around and suddenly they had 50 people trying to get a photo with them. I'm like, who the fuck is that? Oh, it's apparently another YouTuber with 10 million subscribers. I'm like, shit, he looks about 12. But for DAZN, I don't know. I think
I'll be shocked if it goes to DAZN. They're YouTubers, like the YouTube like partners. Like these guys are, what? The Paul brothers have like tens of millions of subscribers. KSI has tens of millions of subs.
Well, between KSI and Logan Paul, with Twitter, Instagram, and their YouTube channel, this has got a reach combined of about 60 million. Like I say, across their YouTube, their Instagram, and Twitter sort of following. So because I just think if DAZN throw enough money at these guys, they're going to do it. Because this last fight, apart from advertising and stuff like that, but purely it did like $11 million or something. But if DAZN give them that each or something, you know what I mean? This is it's not going to make people stick around. But if this is suddenly like a peak of like 3 million subscribers, 4 million, or some crazy number, I don't know. It's to me seems like good business. And some of them forget to not pay, and you know what I mean. I don't know. I just think it's interesting to me. There's just how the numbers work, and if this is all true.
No, I understand your point. I don't see YouTube letting their like biggest brand ambassadors go to in a sense, a definite competitor now. Like DAZN is a competitor in the streaming market with YouTube. YouTube is getting into sports more, getting more into live TV, more into live streaming overall. So they are going to be competitors. It would be weird. It would be a shocker if these two massive YouTubers went to DAZN. It'd be like two massive Netflix personalities or Netflix shows going to Amazon Prime. They'd just be like, that's weird. You know? Wasn't expecting that one. But sort of stitching back to Wilder Ortiz too, because we didn't really talk about this subject the way I wanted it to.
The smaller fight.
Yes. The Showtime Fox battle. It seems like it's becoming more and more of a internal issue for fights to get made. I think it's in large part a reason why Spence Porter took so long to be announced. Why Danny Garcia still doesn't have a fight announced. Mikey still doesn't have a fight announced, because I think for PBC as an entity to matchmake fights, to put fights together, and then to go sell them to Fox or to Showtime and have them bid for it, I think PBC is in a weird place where they are trying to figure out how to organize their content again. You know what I mean? Like, because the way they structure their shows on Showtime is drastically different than the ways they structure them on Fox. You know what I mean? So they have to have some preemptive thought when it comes to sort of making these shows and sort of putting them together. And then on top of that, you're sort of in the process of bidding on them. And what if Fox doesn't bid on this big card? Well, then the card has to be thrown out because Showtime can't pick it up. They have too many big names on it. Fox could pay for it, but Showtime can't. You know, like, there's certain issues here where I think, not that like red flags are here, because you know, I mean, we had the video earlier this week about how I think PBC is largely the most successful promotional, air quotes, company this year, specifically only this year. But I do think that it is hard to like have a wagon with the two horses and they're not connected. You know, like, how can you go forward in like your wagon, in your cart, if your two horses aren't going the same direction? And Showtime and Fox are not going the same direction. So I'm just curious how this transpires, how this relationship gets maneuvered, because it is seemingly more and more of an issue where Fox and Showtime are battling for content, and PBC's in the middle going, I don't know what to do, and they just sit on their hands, and they don't do anything. And that's an issue more than anything. Like, if PBC just stuck to their guns, like, no, sorry, Showtime, Fox, or sorry, Fox, we're going to Showtime, and they just stuck to that, I think this wouldn't be an issue. But it seems like there is we don't know what to do here. We have our parents fighting. I don't like this. You know, I get that vibe of it, you know, like where it's like the kid and his mom and dad are yelling at each other and he just wants to sit there and be quiet. That's PBC and Heyman. They're the kid in the middle just wanting to be quiet while their parents bicker about which fights they pick up.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like we've reported before, Tim Smith told PBC podcast there's a bidding process, and then kind of waffled on about, but you know, others, you know, one fighter's been somewhere, they'll go on the other one, and this. But he kind of said, you know, this goes to the highest bidder basically. So, but this is really testing the whole loyalty theory, you know, with Wilder staying with Showtime and Espinoza, you know, sort of back it. I'm just saying.
No. I want to add. Let me add to that.
Okay.
Because I think there's an interesting part to that dynamic. Who was the loudest person talking about that? It wasn't a PBC official. It was Showtime. You know what I mean? Like, even Wilder, you know, he had his comments like, "Oh, Showtime's been awesome for me," but he never went on the fucking plank like Steven Espinoza did every time. Like, no, we are loyalty. We built Deontay Wilder. He's going to stay here forever because of our relationship, because of loyalty. And he said that for what, 2 years straight?
Yeah, I mean, Wilder's dipped out with the whole loyalty.
But he did. But he's not really a PBC official. Like, Tim Smith never said that. You never had anyone from PBC directly going out and saying, no loyalty. It was Espinoza. And to your point, because I think there was rumblings for that Fox deal for a long time before we heard about it, obviously. I wonder how much of that was like the canary singing, like Espinoza out there saying, "Hey, loyalty, loyalty. They're never going to leave us." The whole time knowing, "Hey, this Fox deal is coming down the pipeline. We're now going to be competing with our own promotional company that we work with." And how much of that was him trying to go up out there in the media and defend PBC the most, so the relationship is the most harmonious. I'm just looking back on it now. You could see maybe where Espinoza and Showtime were concerned about where this was heading, and you didn't realize that at the moment. And only in hindsight could you see it.
Yeah, I mean, what's the Boxing Esquire guy?
Kurt Emhoff, right?
Yeah, he tweeted,
good guy.
If this fight ends up on Fox and I'm Showtime, I'm pissed. I think their whole thing is based around Wilder now. And if he goes over to Fox, which I think Potential Lunatic said it in the chat, if you're the main guys at PBC, you want to be on Fox.
No, absolutely.
You're not that going on Showtime's a bad thing. I'm not saying, it's Showtime. It's synonymous with boxing. It's done all big fights and this, that, and the other. But Fox have come along and everyone's there at the Fox fights. Everyone's getting interviews on Fox throughout the telecast, it seems. I'm always seeing clips of, it was someone else's fight, but Keith Thurman was stood, kind of with a little panel discussing a fight, and every fighter seems to be up on that little spotlight and getting some airtime and stuff. So they all want to be on the bigger numbers, bigger viewing audience, and so yeah, I don't know. I mean, what are we now? August 18th, something like that. Still no announcement for this Ortiz rematch for Wilder, but it's going to have to come pretty soon, I guess. And yeah, so tracing it with like I say, the Fury rematch, I see it getting pushed back till later in the spring, maybe even like early summer. Like, I don't know, but it seems a very narrow window for someone of, as we know, these bigger names when they're not getting three or four fights in the space of, what would it be, like, I don't know, 8 months or something. That seems very unrealistic to me. But I tweeted that and someone replied, "You're joking. Wilder's not scared of anyone." I'm like, I didn't say he was scared of anyone. I just don't think
it's not normal. It's not normal.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that way. Although saying that, apparently Navarrete is going to be on the Wilder undercard after fighting the Fury Wallen undercard after fighting last night. But
that makes sense though.
Yeah, but that's like
Navarrete isn't a guy that's making millions where he can sit out for 4 months.
Yeah. He can make the money.
Yep. I mean, there's just a litany of reasons why Navarrete's gonna be a guy fighting 4 to 6 times every year until he retires, and it's because most of us probably didn't even watch the fight yesterday. Let's just be honest.
You were busy, and it wasn't televised here, I don't think. So we're covered.
Yeah, but even if I wasn't busy, come on, I was gonna watch the UFC card anyways. Shout out to Nate Diaz, the fucking goat.
Yeah, the goat.
The goat. Hold on, everyone's gonna be. Hold on. Yo, but I am legit trash for not picking Nate Diaz to win.
I don't even know what that means.
I didn't pick him to win.
Who?
Me.
You didn't pick Nate Diaz?
Yeah, I didn't pick him to win.
Oh, well, all right.
Yeah, like it. I feel like never mind. I feel like I'm a bad fan.
You are a bad fan.
Like this would be like, let's say if you picked Ruiz to beat AJ in the rematch, which would be shocking, right? But like, let's say you picked that because like, hey, it's AJ's mental space. I don't know where he's at. Blah blah. Like, I just can't pick AJ right now. And then AJ goes out there and has probably his career best performance. You would look like such a bad AJ fan. Let's be honest. But that's this equivalent for me for this thing. But anyways, digressing. Let's get to Canelo Alvarez and what he wants to do. I'm sorry, Rob. Again, guys, call in 323. Actually, it doesn't look like Blog Talk is working. So because of that, guys, Skype, Mixed Combat Radio. Apologies. But Canelo Alvarez is per Eric Gomez, the president of Golden Boy. He is now penciled in for November 2nd. And on top of this, per Igis Klimas, Kovalev has a deal in place should he win to fight Canelo, and assumingly on that date. So, Rob, Canelo Kovalev, is it back on?
Seems to be right. But I've seen so much because DAZN met with and approved X amount of fighters this time. I've seen reports that Canelo really wants to fight Charlo, but Charlo's pricing himself out. So whether that really has been an offer, I don't know.
Who knows with that one?
Apparently the Andrade fight was done per shitty source. So yeah, I don't know, but I mean, this is coming from Klimas. I've got no reason to doubt that there is a deal in place if he wins. So yeah, I guess 3-weight world champion possibly, or whatever it would be for Canelo.
By the way, I think Blog Talk is back up. So Santiago, I see in the chat. If you want, maybe call in and just check it out for me. That'd be awesome. Really appreciate it. But I don't care anymore with Canelo at this point until we have a press conference, a press release. I don't care anymore.
We get an official. It's made. It's on.
Yep.
You know?
I just don't care.
The saga. Fuck.
For those that do not know,
Game of Thrones for me. This is.
Those that don't know, Tevin Farmer and Gervonta Davis have been in a little tiny spat online with offers being sent out. Them saying you don't know what it's like to make $3 million, and somebody coming back saying you don't know what it's like to make $5 million.
You ever made $2 million? Have you ever made 5?
Just like gosh, so stupid. Gary, I think Blog Talk isn't down. I think it's back up now.
I saw the best quote tweet to that. It's like, I'm glad to see the negotiations are moving on really well. Have you ever made 2? Have you ever made 5? Getting nowhere. They say nothing.
But it's also not like they're talking about different things. Like that's why this entire back and forth is so fucking stupid to me. Because one guy's talking about what Farmer's going to make, and the other guy's talking about what Davis is going to make.
Yeah.
And trying to act like it's the same equation. It's a 1-to-1 thing there. No, it's not. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I think if, let's say, in theory, okay, Matchroom sent an offer, not in theory, they did send an offer to Gervonta Davis for $5 million, right? To fight on DAZN. Are we assuming that within that offer that Gervonta knows what Tevin's going to be making? No. I think that's probably the issue there. Is that Davis is thinking, wait, you can give me $5 million? And I'm the guy coming over? So what are you going to give your guy? Better not be more than me. I'm the A side, which he is. Let's be honest about it. He does more numbers historically on TV. Even though Farmer's no longer on TV, when he was on TV, he didn't do numbers like Gervonta did, just period, point blank. So that's why I think this entire conflict is weird and stupid because they aren't saying the same thing. And I think a $2 million paycheck for Tevin Farmer guaranteed is not absurd for a first offer. I don't think he should accept it. But I definitely understand why that was a first offer, and vice versa. I understand why the $5 million for Gervonta Davis was the first offer. But I just think that this fight is only going to get made A, on Showtime, and B, with Gervonta Davis feeling like he's in control, like he's getting paid more. He's the A side. He's being treated as such, and it's a total diva move. But that's what I think it's going to take to make this fight. And this whole, hey, what are you going to be making? Well, what are you actually making? Well, you've never made this before. That is just, that's annoying petty to me, Rob. That's not creative pettiness.
It's shit petty.
It's shit petty, yes. But digressing, I love the fight. Have always loved the fight. I think Davis wins it, but I'm a big fan of the matchup. But I don't see it happening right now. I think they're too far apart on what they want. Rob?
Yeah, I don't I don't see that happening. I mean, Showtime would have to match like the DAZN offer, right? Are they ready to pay Tank $5 million? I don't know. I've seen people saying, well, this would be pay-per-view, so it's not about the guarantees, it's what they'd make on the back. I'm like, is it pay-per-view? Is this the pay-per-view fight for Tank? I don't know, mate.
Look, anyone out there that is seriously peddling this as pay-per-view needs to be ostracized from the community completely. Like, they are the lepers of the boxing community. Are the people that go, yeah, this fight of two guys that aren't massive TV stars, right, that are very young fighters, that should be a pay-per-view main event. Yeah, you fucking corporate bootlickers. Get the fuck out of here.
I can't even remember who said it. It might have been a corporate bootlicker. Probably.
If you're saying that, yeah, Gervonta Davis and Ten Farmer should be pay-per-view, and therefore, like, everyone should be happy with the money, and, like, Farmer should be, like, shutting up, then, yeah, you kind of a corporate bootlicker, let's be honest. Yarp. Moving on, unless you have anything else to say.
No, I think we're going to get Farmer and Jojo Diaz before this.
Yeah, well, yeah, completely.
So we'll wait and see what Tank's got lined up. I believe he said the other day, like, fight news coming soon. So I don't think that means Tevin.
We're going to burn through all these topics right now and then get to callers if we have any. If we don't have any callers, we're going to jump out of here because I'm exhausted. Oh, Gary, relax. Oh, my God. Relax, Gary. Let's burn let's get to the really fast through all this little minor news stories, and let's get to callers because I'm exhausted. I only have 1 hour sleep from covering the UFC card last night. And again, go check out all the content on ShareDog.com, ShareDog YouTube page, and also on our YouTube page and the MMA playlist, our interview playlist, all that stuff. You can check out all of my media scrums, all my interviews, preview and post-fight shows, all that fun stuff. Artur Beterbiev, Alexander Vajic, fight that we knew was being made, is now official for October 18th. Press release, everything. It's 100% signed, sealed, and delivered. And you know what? It's kind of sad that, like, this is the best fight that Top Rank / ESPN has put on this year by far, right? And it's not going to be a big one. Like, the only way this could really, like, have eyeballs on it, put Terrence Crawford as the main event. But they're not going to do that because they don't have probably in the budget to do that.
No. But, yeah, it's a shame. This is a real hardcore sort of fight, you know. Two were they non-English speakers? Yeah.
I mean, Vajic might have, like, broken English like Loma does, but I doubt that because Vajic... I doubt that because Vajic hasn't done media like Loma has. Like, Loma has done U.S. media from, like, the beginning of his career.
Yeah, I mean, Loma's getting a lot better with his English. He's
lives in L.A., you know.
But, yeah, this is a real hardcore fight. This isn't one the masses are interested in, I don't think, or even possibly even know these guys. So, yeah, shame because it could be an absolute fight of the year contender maybe, you know.
I think it might be. And plus, I think... perhaps the winner of that fight might be the best light heavyweight on the planet. Like, you can really make the argument then.
Yeah, well, that
because let's say respective to the time period, right? Like, to when this fight's happening, in theory, Kovalev Canelo's happening, right? Dimitri Bivol is still not doing anything, right? And
in camp now, I think there's a date coming soon. Oh, I think he's maybe on. Someone in the chat will say, is he on the Triple G card, October 5th-ish?
I wouldn't mind that. I would be okay with that.
Depends who it's against, like, but be good on an undercard. But what was I going to say? Yeah, you're forgetting Anthony Yard could possibly come in and take the best heavyweight title.
Light heavyweight.
Light heavyweight, sorry, yeah.
No. Funny. Moving on.
It wasn't meant to be funny. Yes, he could go in and beat Kovalev. You know?
He absolutely could. Yes. Uzgatigi versus Dennis Douglin tops the PBC September 21st FS1 card. Yeah, Tom Zolome also on the card as well. Terrell Williams. Little B-Hop is on the card. I think he'll be the co-main event to that. Hopefully getting some shine. Even though it's an FS1 card, at least he'll get TV shine. He's not stuck on the prelims anyway. That to me is a little bit important. You need to start pushing that guy.
Yeah.
Moving on. Jorge Linares coming back, guys. Hey, Linares. Fighting Al Tohogon, September 7th in Tokyo. I love that he's going back to Japan. Linares had some of his best moments in Japan. 2, hopefully we see Linares go out in a better light than his last fight, because that was rough. And the guy's fighting is not anyone really that extreme. And Jump Tube saying, Matt, what's the MMA content on UFC 241? So Daniel Cormier, Super Miocic, I covered that for Fight Week, so I was there for the press conference, media workouts. I was at the fights.
I think it means where can you find your content?
The content, it will be at sharedog.com, sharedog.com, YouTube page as well, spellout.com, like DOTCOM. And then also all of that content's also on our YouTube page. So if you go to our YouTube page right now, like our homepage, scroll down. Don't do it right now because you're watching the show, and we want you to keep watching the show. But you can scroll down. You're going to see an MMA playlist, and interviews, and media events playlist. You're going to see that, and you're going to see the MMA content there. So you can find it either on our YouTube page or sharedog.com or Sharedog's YouTube page itself. But digressing, Jose Pedraza coming back, and also going to be on that card, the September 14th card, with Tyson Fury, Otto Whalen. Also, Miguel Berchelt might be on that card. They're definitely trying to put a bunch of names on it because they know the main event is dog shit. But Pedraza moving to 140 and fighting Jose Cepeda. That should be an all-action fight. But I am really concerned about Pedraza moving up to 140 because that kind of... It screams of like at least Selby moving up too fast. You know, it's like, that's a bridge too far for you, Pedraza, potentially at 140. However, definitely intrigued about the matchup itself. It should be a fun fight. Moving on, unless Rob, you want to jump in? No, good. Amir Rahman signs with Top Rank. Year-end ring return. And also, eyeing a Terrence Crawford fight. Rob, how upset are we going to be when Terrence Crawford fights Amir Rahman next year? Right? Like, it's guaranteed.
Yeah, they've got to get him opponents, but they're not going to get him anyone that anyone's really going to be that hyped about. Who is there? They're all over on the air quotes other side of the street. Yeah, but you know, their mums won't let them come out to play.
Joshua Buatsi versus Ryan Ford finalized for the Lomachenko Campbell card. Really good matchup. I like it. Plus, anytime I get to see Buatsi fight, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, it could be. This guy's never been stopped. I know there's some people are bringing up an old Eddie Hearn tweet about Frank Warren trying to make this fight for Yard, and now it's good enough for Buatsi. So, but people really need to not get so caught up in what promoters say at any point in time, because when it suits, it suits. When it don't, the other guys are trash. You know, that's the promoter game, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not saying that name because of your username, homie. Yeah, go get a new name, and then you can come back and comment in the live chat. Last topic of the day. You don't get it, Rob?
No.
Really?
Really?
Look at the first part of that. Think about it. Think about something that happened in the 30s, in the 40s, like in Germany.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you connect the dots. Yeah.
It's not that word, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Is it that? I thought it was spelled differently. Never mind.
Unless I'm dyslexic here. Which is possible shit, man.
Let me
Again,
Google
an
it.
hour of sleep. I just don't have time for the bullshit.
No.
Trying to spell. No, Rob. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Go to Floyd. And like before I get into this, a lot of people are already saying like it's potentially old. So God knows the validity of this. God knows what it means. So yeah, whatever.
And Gracie, I want to say thank you. It's an honor to come to Saudi Arabia to sit down with you guys to talk about the Mayweather-Pacquiao rematch. Saudi Arabia, Floyd Money Mayweather. I'm on my way. And Gracie.
Look, I didn't even want to see it if it's in America, but if Baby Shark's, talking Floyd into
and, Rob, you know my opinions about Floyd and Pacquiao. Like I don't view them in the highest of light and regard, right? You know that. I think they're probably not equally so, but pretty despicable human beings in terms of their worldviews. So it's not surprising that they want to go be a part of a totalitarian government's propaganda arm to sports wash a genocide going on and human rights violation. Not a surprise. But it definitely, I'll put it this way. If this fight was in the U.S., in Las Vegas, I can kind of put aside the fact that I don't like either guy and watch the fight because from a sporting perspective, this fight still means something to me. Like I think it still has value. I know you don't, Rob. That's fine. We've had that debate before, but in my opinion, purely that this fight from a meritocracy sporting standpoint still has value to bring to the sporting world. However, you add who these people are individually, Pacquiao, Mayweather. One, an outright homophobic bigot who is a senator to a proto-fascist wannabe dictator in the Philippines. Shout out to Duarte.
Yeah. And the other one is Manny Pacquiao.
No, that would be funny. And the other one is, a convicted domestic violence abuser multiple times. So you add those two characters to, again, Saudi Arabia, the meshing of pure filth in humanity that is. It makes me sick to my stomach. Oh my God. But I'm not surprised. And the reason why I think, in large part, this won't get the backlash. Let's say if it does happen, right? Let's say Pacquiao, Mayweather is in Abu Dhabi, in the UAE, or wherever it is, right? No, Abu Dhabi is in Saudi Arabia. Dubai in UAE, or anywhere in Saudi Arabia. It's not going to see the same criticism because of, let's say, AJ Ruiz going there, because AJ and Ruiz are looked at differently. Like AJ is looked at as the ambassador of UK boxing, Mr. Clean Cut, right, suit and tie, right. Andy Ruiz is the lovable Snickers guy, the kid from Up, right. It's a different, like I think we expect more from those two young guys. Mayweather and Pacquiao,
we expect more.
We do. Like, am I wrong in that? Well, Mayweather and Pacquiao, we long gave up on like holding them to some sort of standard of conduct and moral ethics or anything like that.
I know where you're going,
but it should receive probably more criticism, Mayweather Pacquiao, because they are bigger figures in the sport. They are more despicable human beings. It should receive more criticism, but it won't, because why? It's not as much of a surprise as a Joshua Ruiz going there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to wait on this if this is valid. I sent
hold
it.
Hold on, Kevin. The ethics of boxing, LOL. Homie, if you cannot separate, or I should say this, if you have the inability to criticize a genocide because, boxing, I can't criticize it because, boxing's been used to be a propaganda arm for this, genocide. So Hey, it's a sporting event. I can't criticize politics when the government is literally using like a sport for a political reason. On top of that, of course we can say that you should have ethics in that part. These are human beings, right? Like Anthony Joshua, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, these are all human fucking beings. So to just go, oh, it's boxing. They can be criminals, degenerates, rapists, murderers. They can go support dictators. It doesn't give a fuck. It's boxing. Is that really your mentality, Kevin? Because if that's your mentality, Kevin, then I can probably assume a lot about you, to be quite honest. So, no. I should say, yes. I should reframe that. Yes, ethics in boxing. Abso-fucking-lutely. Why? Because boxing has human people in it, human interactions, and to devoid ethics and morality just because it's a sport? Fuck out of here. You fucking corporate bootlicker asshole. These proto-fascists. Get the fuck out of my mentions. Get the fuck out of my live chat. Go away. God.
Just shout out to Leonard. He put, it's a kingdom. The sheikhs will tell them to be boxing fans for the day.
That's good.
Boxing fans today. All right. But yeah, I'm gonna wait on this because we saw a whole video of Floyd stepping into an octagon saying it's coming. And yeah, that never raised his head ever again. But the whole world went mental thinking he was gonna do some MMA fighting. But
I'll put it this way, shockingly enough, right? The UFC, who is actually going to Abu Dhabi, which I have massive criticisms of with Khabib, they can at least acknowledge what is happening in Hong Kong right now and go, hey, we have a backup in case something happens and that situation in Hong Kong continues and we can't have our fight there. So, look, corporations worry about ethics when it hurts their bottom line. Saudi Arabia is helping the bottom line. That's why the corporations don't care about the ethics. But guess what? I don't give a fuck about that. I'm going to criticize those corporations for not using ethics because of money. Blood money, oil money. That's despicable. And the fact that our sport has been used as propaganda for sports watching and genocide, if that doesn't make you sick to your stomach, then there's something wrong with you. Like there is something deeply wrong with you. Go see a psychiatrist. Anyways, Rob.
I can't do a show tomorrow. I have an appointment. But yeah, I'm going to wait on this because part of me thinks troll.
This isn't true. I don't think it's true.
And even if it's old, he was apparently in Saudi Arabia about January time. So I don't know, but be interesting to see if people are on that usual. Yeah, fair play to him. Yeah, it's a money grab. Go get it. And I saw someone say, "Oh, but this will be remember, Manny just won the full title." I was like, "Yeah, Floyd ain't fighting at 147 ever again." So it won't be for about. It'll be 150, whatever.
Agreed. Let's go to callers. Let's go out to Gary in Dallas. It's been a while. Gary, how you doing?
What?
What was that?
I'm doing well, fellas. Can you guys hear me okay? You're breaking up a little bit. Both of you guys. Like it's fading in and out.
Yeah,
Can y'all hear me okay?
It's a little rough. Hold on, let me see what I can do here. Hold on. But it also sounds like you're on your phone on Skype, which is always like iffy. Gary, you might go out here for a second. Let me switch up the internet and go to a better one. And hopefully that works. But Rob, man, what's up with you, man? How have you been while this thing is fixing itself?
Yeah, all right.
Anything new, man?
Anything what?
Anything new?
No, not really. Struggling on. Bit of time off. Got next week off as well. No, you laugh. Literally,
like the whole week off?
Yeah, doing some things with the kid, summer holidays and all that, off school. So, a few little things planned for some day trips and do a few things. But
yeah, Rob having a vacation. I think in my like entire, like in our entire relationship, Rob, you've never taken a vacation.
Not a legit away travel away.
No, you got paid. You got paid to go to Scotland and plant like apple trees and shit, but that doesn't count as vacation.
No, that was work.
Because you got paid. Yeah, exactly. In my mind, it was vacation because for the bands. But let's go back to Gary. Let's see if this is better.
What an
Gary.
interesting interlude that was.
Is that better, guys? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's a little better. Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Good. First, I'm not sure, but do you remember the guy that called in and said the same people that paid off Jaime Munguia were the same people that paid off the Olympic study from Beijing?
Yeah.
Remember that guy?
Yeah, that was a great guy.
His name was Kevin. Kevin is the same guy that says bot. I'm not saying it's the same guy. I'm just saying they're both named Kevin.
Maybe it's just a Kevin thing.
I'm not saying it's the same person, but they're both named Kevin. Just saying.
Hold on.
Not be left home alone. Kevin.
First, I wanted to get to this AJ Lennox Lewis thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is scripted worse than an episode of Catfish.
Ooh.
There's no way either guy has any hostility towards the other. Those are two really likable guys, intelligent guys, good people. This is scripted. They don't. Do you think AJ actually thinks Lennox Lewis is a clown?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. If I'm betting, if you sit down AJ and ask him like, "Hey, off the record, you think Lennox is a clown?" I'm like, fuck yeah. I think, I'll be honest, most fighters don't like each other.
Yeah, but they're not contemporaries, though.
It doesn't matter. That does not matter. Most fighters don't like each other.
So you think if you ask Deontay Wilder, he has beef with Evander Holyfield?
No, but he has beef with Mike Tyson.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Tyson said like he's not good. He doesn't fight anybody. He's not a real champ. I mean, Lewis didn't say those things about Anthony Joshua.
But he did imply. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize.
Someone doesn't want the fight.
He did kind of imply that he was like a coward. Like he didn't want the fight. He didn't want to be undisputed. Like, I would take offense to that.
Myself, unlike me.
Rob, do you think these are your countrymen? Kind of. Lennox Lewis is kind of British, right?
Was.
Do you think this is general dislike, or do you think this is just bands? Like this is scripted hate? Like, do you think Anthony Joshua thinks Lennox Lewis, a top 5 heavyweight champion of all time, for sure, all around good guy, is a clown?
I don't know that it's scripted, but I think certain comments might have pissed Joshua off. And then recently he said, I don't think this fight's going to happen and things like that. So I think Joshua's maybe just a little bit sick of this old guy having his say on everything that he's doing in his career. So, yeah, I think, is it maybe being blown up and used? Yes. But do I think Joshua feels this way? I think so. I think there's a partly genuine. I don't know how deep he really feels how clowny he really feels he is. But yeah, I think there's some truth behind this. But Sky have definitely used this to push out advantage.
It just seems odd to me that two guys who don't trash talk other people personally, right? Who are professionals, who are champions. That seems weird to me, right? Like, it's not, those two guys behave and act and fight like champions. Anthony Joshua's never ducked anyone, right? He's never really said bad things about people, neither did Lennox Lewis. Like, might like him or not, right? And I was a Holyfield guy. I didn't like Lennox Lewis when he was fighting, right? Because I loved Holyfield. But you can't say anything bad. Lewis fought everybody, right? And he was an all-around great guy. He never said a bad word, negative thing about anyone. Like, and Joshua is the same way. It's hard to have a lot of anger towards either one of those guys. And for them to have that anger towards each other, I don't know. It seems not real to me. But, maybe.
I'll put it this way, Gary. I can think someone's an asshole and say hey, they're a clown, they're an asshole, and that's the most I think about that person for the rest of the year, right? But if that part gets videotaped and clipped out and gets pushed by the biggest news corporation in all of the country and pushed heavily, then it becomes a narrative, it becomes a talking point, it becomes much bigger than what it was, right? It becomes me being really angry with that person, me being obsessed about that person. It becomes more of an issue, right? So I think the animosity, I don't think it's a really deep animosity, to be quite honest. I'm with Rob here. I think it's just hey, really don't like this guy, whatever. Go our separate ways. But I'm going to get, if I get asked about it, I'm going to be honest about it, right? And because it is pushed so heavily, it has this non-organic feel to it. But I think the animosity is organic. I think that is genuine. But the reaction from the media, or I should say the push by the media, and when I say the media, I mean specifically the networks involved with these fighters, Sky, PBC, Fox, Showtime, whoever it is that is putting out content around this, that is those sort of networks, they know what they're doing, and that's not organic. But the animosity is.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
I don't think that, Lewis's criticism of AJ was out of bounds. I don't think it was, inappropriate. I think it was a fair criticism. I don't think that...
Yeah, but you're not AJ.
Absolutely. I don't think he was ducking the fight. I don't necessarily think Spence is ducking Crawford, right? But he doesn't this fight needs to get made the way that Lewis and Holyfield said this fight needs to get made in their era, right?
Mm-hmm.
That fight was impossible to make, and they made it immediately, right? As soon as Holyfield beat Lewis, as soon as Holyfield beat Michael Moore and got the other 2 belts, the fight was made immediately. That fight was supposed to be impossible to make because Don King wasn't going to work with Bob Arum in a fight that big, and they got it made immediately. If those guys wanted to fight, really, really wanted to fight, it would get made. They're too big of stars for it to not get made.
I'm not even going to talk about that because that's not really a topic of conversation, but sure. I think if you are a up-and-comer, a contemporary in your industry, and the biggest name in the previous generation doesn't have nice things to say about you, even if they're just kind of benign or benign, menial things that really aren't really that egregious, but still slightly disrespectful, you're going to take it a little bit more extreme than, let's say, people on the outside like you or me, right? For example, Wilder Tyson. Anytime I used to ask Wilder about the whole Tyson beef, he that bothered him. Why? Because it was Mike Tyson. It wasn't some average Joe off the street. It was Mike fucking Tyson, the biggest heavyweight in the previous generation in the U.S. And he doesn't like Wilder, the current heavyweight U.S. champ. The same exact situation is happening in the UK with Lennox and AJ.
Do you think there's any jealousy? Because, Lewis is a top 5 heavyweight champion of all time. And he was never the star that AJ was, over in the UK, at least, right? He's probably a bigger star in the US. Does that bother him, do you think? Does it bother Lewis that he's so much better than AJ but was never the star AJ was?
If I'm a guessing man, yes.
I've seen that narrative has been put out there. He's not, he didn't maybe maximize his money like Joshua has. He hasn't become the brand that he wasn't never the darling that Joshua is. That kind of thing hasn't made the same money that Joshua, that kind of thing.
And Rob, let me just further my point. And when I say that I think that he's jealous of AJ, that might most likely is a subconscious jealousy. Envy is one of those things you don't realize you're envious until you're past the point of being envious and jealous. To you do something stupid or say something stupid because you're jealous or envious, right? You don't realize it till that point. So I think Lennox, while he has probably enjoyed being an elder statesman in the sport in some way, definitely didn't capitalize on his career probably the way he could have. But then again, I said it earlier on the show, I don't know if you were listening, but Lennox was the Sean Porter of the heavyweights of that era. Like he was like not in terms of talent.
He beat the other guy,
Yeah,
right?
but just the
Both
star
of them
power. He was nice, but like
Yeah.
no one cared about Lennox the way they cared about Evander, Mike Tyson. Hell, even like guys like Riddick Bowe, Donovan Razor Ruddock. Like Andrew Galata, I think has more hardcore like fans than Lennox Lewis, for God's sake. You know, like Lennox was always the quiet guy in that era, so he kind of lost out on the moments he really could have capitalized. Plus, had some unfortunate losses and some really unfortunate times before he could really jump into those top fights in key points in history. But digressing, I think Lennox is slightly jealous of AJ, his stardom, but that's also human nature. Like people get jealous. Like I think that's normal.
Very quick as well. I don't know if anyone saw it. IFL interview. Spencer Fearon had Lennox Lewis on FaceTime, and he opened up the questions to Lewis, saying, "Do you think if Muhammad Ali's family thought you were a clown, you wouldn't have been asked to be a coffin bearer at his funeral?" And I'm like, "What the fuck has that got to do with anything?"
I can understand what you're trying to ask, but that's a really weird way to frame that question.
No, but had Lewis gave off the impression he thought Muhammad Ali was at fault for a fight not happening, calling him maybe the possibility of a coward and criticizing him.
It'd be the other way around. Ali criticizing Lewis.
I'm saying, as far as his family asking it, if there turned out to be that sort of series of events, would Muhammad Ali's family offered him that? Carry it. Do you know what I mean? It's a ridiculous thing. If Joshua was disrespected, he's disrespected and reacted the way he did. Someone else might say he's been nothing but a gentleman to me. He's a great guy. He was a great fighter. He's never said any bad word against me. It's just a ridiculous. The whole thing has been talked about way too much now. Gary, something else.
Oh, I wanted to ask Matt real quick about the Top Rank card. I was going to ask you if you went out to cover the Navarrete fight, but I guess you had no interest in it.
Yeah.
I know he wasn't fighting, a world beater. But he just come off the second fight with Dog, but you didn't have any interest in seeing Navarrete, just watching him perform to see how good he is, how good he would look against.
You do realize that A, Nate Diaz fought last night. B, Paula Bochina Costa and Yoel Romero had the fight of the century for people that are on steroids. That was insane. And C, one of the greatest UFC heavyweight fights happened. Yeah, no, Emmanuel Navarrete, not on my radar right now. I'll be honest. I might not even go back and watch it. Like I'll just probably see. I'll read an article about it really fast, and I'm good.
Yeah, I still hadn't gone back and watched the Jason Sosa fight because I had no interest in it at all, and that was the same day as the Virgil Ortiz fight, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
That fight. So I hadn't gone back and watched that card at all. I mean, look, I know that they have a contract, they have to be filled with ESPN, they have to give you so many fights. But what kind of cards are these? Navarrete versus no one in particular is a great co-main. Jason Sosa versus no one in particular is an untelevised fight. Like, what are they doing? And then obviously Tyson Fury versus nobody. Like, what is with these cards?
I don't know, man. Like Top Rank is one of the most frustrating promoters right now in the sport because the amount of quantity they put out is extreme and probably the most out of anyone in the sport. Like they put out more. ESPN puts out more combat sports content than any other platform on the planet, and most of it is dog shit. Like it's just not. It's not good. Like the cards aren't deep, and most of the time in this year, the main events haven't been good. Even like the main events haven't been good fights. They haven't been competitive fights. They haven't been fights we really cared about. It's just all around. Top Rank looks like they have no idea what they're doing.
That's a problem, right? Like I can live with one or the other. If you're not going to give me a good main event, give me a deep card. Give me a stacked card.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not going to give me a stacked card, then make sure the main event's really good. If you give me a thin card with a crappy main event, we got a problem. Like, why am I watching this?
Yep.
And that's what Top Rank's been giving us, right? Like, we're talking about Tyson. What is this? Like, Otto Whalen after. I know they're keeping him busy. He said he's going to fight again this year. Tyson Fury's going to fight a third time this year.
Mm-hmm.
But what does it matter if he's fighting sparring partners? Like, how does any great? He fought 3 times this year. That's awesome. But it's not because he's not fighting anyone, right? Like, who cares if he fights another Otto Whalen type guy? Who cares if he fights 6 times a year? None of this is relevant, right? He's not fighting any real opponent. I just don't know what Top Rank is doing. They're collecting good talent, but they're just giving us cards like this over and over and over again.
Apparently, Povetkin turned it down. Who else turned it down? Charles Martin, whatever he was thinking, no idea. But a lot of people turned the fight down. Otto Wallin, number 4 in the WBA.
Is he really?
He's
exactly. Like, how do you get to be ranked number 4?
Money, 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 money. That song comes to mind.
I gotta go, fellas. I gotta go.
Well, bye then, Gary. Fuck you too.
I think Otto Wallin being number 4 in the WBA is just totally blown his mind.
It burnt my brain down because I'll be honest, Otto Whalen at number 4 is a crime against humanity. The UN should look into that.
Amnesty International says do not travel to Otto Wallin, wherever that is.
I would say the WBA. Don't travel to the WBA.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. Or any sanctioned body. Trash.
Very quickly, Dillian White is back in the WBC rankings, and he hasn't. All that he's been suspended is the interim status and the mandatory status.
Yeah, we knew that.
He's back as number 1. No, it's just he was removed from the rankings, and now he's back. And Mauricio clarified it with Pound for Pound podcast. Very quick, possibly Josh Taylor pro grade back on. We've got to talk about that. Good little people go and check out the little back and forth with Josh Taylor and Lou DiBella.
I'll talk about that when the fight gets made. Like that's one of those like if they had a Canelo name attached to it, we would talk about it, but it's not Canelo, so like. We want to talk about the fact that saga of that fight continuing to not be made, but still almost be made for months now. Yeah, I'm checking out. Wait till that press release gets out. And now I would say Canelo's probably in that boat with me as well.
Yeah, like boxing the series news changes with the wind. So
yeah, it does. But anyways, guys, you can find me, Mount Hunter, MCR, all platforms. Obviously, hit the like button, share the show, subscribe. Make sure you see all of my UFC 241 Fight Week content on ShareDog.com on their YouTube page, and on our YouTube page as well. You can find the content there. Quick shout out to some people that made this week awesome. Submission Radio guys, Dennis, Casper, Justin, guys were awesome. James Lynch, obviously you're always a great elder statesman in the media to me and to the show. Thank you. And plus, MMA media, so much better than boxing media. Yeah, it's not even close, guys. It's not even close.
Only because they like you. That's all.
It's true. They do like me a lot more than
boxing media just doesn't like you, man.
They hate me.
I've got no idea why.
But I will say this, because Matthew Tucker from Fight Hub, he's like their filmographer, right? He's the guy behind the camera for Marcos Villegas, right? Since he does both, right? He does Fight Hub does both boxing and MMA. He was there, right? And I've gotten to know Matthew Tucker quite a bit, right? Great guy. Go follow his work, Matthew Tucker Photography. A really good photographer. But we were talking about, like, yeah, man, boxing media, you would never see 7 different outlets together drinking beer after a media event. That would never happen in the boxing world. We all hate each other too much.
Nice. But yeah, hello, UFC MMA media. Apparently you watch us.
Some do.
I know why you come. I know why you drop by and hit that thumbs up.
Yeah, Fugati.
He's not here. That's me.
So we don't have the thumbs up for this video.
It's the weird English man with their voice that sounds weird. Just brings them in. But
a little bit redundant. The weird Englishman with the weird voice.
Yeah.
You don't have a weird voice though. What are you talking about? You don't have a weird voice. You're not from Liverpool.
Nah, okay. The weird English guy with the weird voice co-host.
It's so funny. Oscar from the Mac Life, right? He's from Manchester, right? True Brit, right? You would love him. And I always make jokes that he's from Liverpool because he hates it, and he really hates it. Oh, it's great.
I wouldn't do that here.
No, I'm smart enough to do that. But anyways, guys, find us wherever. Matt Hunter MCR, UK Rob MCR, like button, share the show, subscribe, all that fun stuff, guys. Peace.
Catch you later.